Many of you prepared for today's hearing by making sure that you got a little bit of information about immigrants and crime in your cities. Let me ask each of the mayors, just yes or no.
This MAGA Cult that they just bought into, he sold them the lies and they bought into it. And now that they're realizing they're in their find out stage, they're regretting their vote.
But the last time I checked, you're actually showing up. You may or may not be aware, but the NRCC just instructed Republicans to stop their town hall meetings because their constituents were showing up and telling them to do your jobs.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Gabriel back with another episode of the Reality and Denial Show. Today we're going to be talking about my girl Jasmine Crockett. Y'all, she was talking to the mayors at a hearing and I just love how strategic she is with her questioning, because she just tore the whole Republican MAGA party, the MAGA cult, up with this one question. Y'all check it out.
It's Crockett from Texas.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and thank you so much to our mayors that are here. And I really quickly want to touch on something because I know that many of you prepared for today's hearing by making sure that you got a little bit of information about immigrants and crime in your cities. Let me ask each of the mayors, just yes or no. Have any of you been made aware of any immigrant that has had 34 felony convictions that has still been able to roam around in your cities? Anyone?
No, ma'am.
34 felony convictions.
No, Congresswoman.
From the immigrants. Anybody?
I'm not aware.
Oh, okay. I'm just curious because we are so concerned about crime, and I know that my Republican colleagues would never want anybody with 34 felony convictions roaming around because that could be a danger to the community, but I will move on. The Republicans put more effort into producing their little propaganda trailer for this hearing than they have into reforming America's immigration system. And that's why we're here today. In fact, Republicans are beating up on the vast majority of you about what you're doing for your citizens. But the last time I checked, you're actually showing up. You may or may not be aware, but the NRCC just instructed Republicans to stop their town hall meetings because their constituents were showing up and telling them to do your jobs. If I had to sum up some of what you have said thus far today, I would sum it up as you have been trying to tell them as politely as you can to do their jobs. In fact, we know that they have not done their jobs, and so they're trying to force you to do it for them by turning your local law enforcement officers into ICE agents. They have this fake outrage about how immigrants are stealing resources and jobs from Americans when residents of Boston, Chicago, New York City, and Denver are subsidizing public services in their districts and their states because the Republicans refuse to ensure that their constituents earn a livable wage. Look, they don't have a plan to fix immigration in America because they don't want to. Mass deportation isn't a plan. Arresting kids in schools or worshipers in church isn't a plan. But there are important points to discuss as it relates to immigration in America. So, Mr. Beer, in January, you testified before the Judiciary Subcommittee on Immigration, Integrity, Security, and Enforcement. During that hearing, we played a little game called Rhetoric or Reality. Do you remember that?
I remember, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead for round two. Why don't we? Rhetoric or reality? Immigrants are a burden to the American taxpayers because they deplete our federal resources.
That would be rhetoric.
Correct. In fact, the Congressional Budget Office estimates that immigrants will lower U.S. deficits by a cumulative $1 trillion and increase the U.S. economy's size by nearly $9 trillion over 10 years. Is that correct?
That is correct.
In 2023, 47 million immigrants paid nearly $652 billion in taxes, $58.1 billion in taxes alone into Texas. Rhetoric or reality? During his first administration, Trump improved enforcement of U.S. immigration laws.
He did not.
In fact, President Trump closed almost all immigration courts for removal proceedings, cut prosecutions for unauthorized entry by 87%, cut ICE removals, to the lowest level in the history of the agency and released 9,000 people with violent crime convictions back into our communities. Is that correct?
That's right. Yes.
So, rhetoric or reality? President Trump's immigration policies make American communities safer.
No, they don't make communities safer.
In fact, nearly 100,000 unauthorized immigrants have obtained legal status through their cooperation with law enforcement. And local law enforcement agencies have more than 300,000 pending requests for immigrants seeking legal status based upon their cooperation with law enforcement, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Is that correct?
That's right. Immigrants work with law enforcement to stop and solve crimes.
Thank you. That was one of my rhetoric or reality questions. Sorry. The question was immigrants without legal status can help stop crime. That's correct.
Yes,
right?
that's
All
correct.
right. And Mr. Beer, isn't it true that Republicans are threatening to illegally strip cities of law enforcement grants intended for local policing and public safety if they don't go along with Trump's immigration agenda?
That's right. They want to redistribute the fiscal burden onto the Democratic cities and away from the Republican ones.
Which brings me to my next point. Mayor Adams, do you believe that President Trump is weaponizing the Department of Justice against local governments like New York City?
As I stated publicly, thank you for the question, Congresswoman. And as I indicated previously, this case is in front of Judge Ho, and I'm going to allow the judicial process to go forward.
Well, let me ask it a different way. There was a quote from Mr. Well, he had to get advice. So can I just get a...
What's that?
He was getting advice. So can I get a little bit of time? I didn't interrupt while he was getting advice.
Time because they were advising us.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is the last one. There was a quote from Mr. Homan, I believe, where he said he will be in your office and up your butt if there was a problem with whatever agreement. We don't know what it was. My question to you, I know you've been asked about it a couple of times today, is was he lying when he said that you made an agreement that would cause him to be up your butt if you failed to uphold your end of it?
And gentlelady's time's expired, but if the mayor wants to answer it, he can.
Congresswoman, I answered that question, and it appears as though we're asking the same questions over and over and over again. My comments are not going to change. No quid pro quo, no agreement. I did nothing wrong.
Y'all, I love that. She said, surely y'all don't want nobody with 34 convicted felonies, convictions out here roaming the streets. Because that just would be unsafe for the American people. But no, in reality, they do. Because their leader, their God, is a 34-time convicted felon. But that's what they don't want to accept. So it's just crazy how they just keep attacking the immigrants, saying the immigrants is doing all of this and that, when in reality, it's really them. You know, they're the ones hurting society and the economy, not the immigrants. Now, granted, you know, does that apply to 100%? No, there are some bad people. Yes, I understand get rid of the bad people, but that mass deportation is not a fix. Because you're going in schools, taking children, you're going into worship places, churches, everything, taking people. This is not what they voted for. And the people that was delusional and voted for this MAGA cult, that they just bought into, you know, he sold them the lies and they bought into it. And now that they're realizing they're in their find out stage, you know, and they're regretting their votes because they're like, why are you doing this? Because this is not what I voted for. They thought they were the exception to that rule. But no. So I love Jasmine Crockett. She also played her famous game, Rhetoric or Reality. I love that. She went for round 2, y'all. So I love it, y'all. Y'all just got to keep supporting Jasmine Crockett because Jasmine Crockett is one of the fighters that we have here in Congress right now, one of the greatest we got. So we have to keep supporting her, protect her at all costs. And you know, I love that she talked about how that they're really wanting to pull back and try to put it on the states and have the police officers in the individual states act like they're the ICE agents to try to push their agenda. Because in reality, they honestly don't have enough people anyway, but they're really trying to push their agenda on the states. And then, you know, when they're giving them backlash about that, saying, no, that's y'all agenda, then they want to kind of use that as a blame game and say, look, they're against this, they're not doing it. It's all a game to them. It's all a game. So it's really ridiculous. No, if you pushing your agenda, you push it and you take full responsibility for it. But we know that ain't never going to happen from that MAGA cult. So every time I talk about this MAGA cult, I just get so irritated because this is foolish. I don't even understand how people voted for this. I just don't even understand how this is America right now. It's crazy. But I love that we have people like Jasmine Crockett here and just putting the truth out and not afraid to put it out in front of them. So keep supporting, keep tuning in. Jasmine, I love you. I'm rooting for you. I'm praying for your strength daily because I know you are getting attacked from this MAGA cult. Because trust me, I done got attacked too. So it's ridiculous. So y'all, let me know what y'all think about all of this mass deportation, this Trump plan, whatever the plan that he got for this mass deportation and how he's been going about it. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and I will catch y'all on the next video. Peace.